Have we started? Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is going on. We do these live streams every single day at 11 a.m. so we can all stay up to date and know what's happening, because the markets have become very, very, very volatile. So it's important to stay up to date on all of the news. So we bring this to you. Sometimes we are joined by that Martini guy as well, but today it is just me. So let's take a look now. Before we get onto today's video, don't forget to hit like. Let's put a like goal on today's video. Let's try and get 50 likes today. We are currently on 4. So if you haven't already, please make sure to smash the like button. And we are also on 1,965 subscribers. And this is the year that we've been set the mission of getting to 100,000 subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind, please hitting a subscribe and turning on your bell notifications as well, so you don't miss these live streams. Let's take a look at CoinMarketCap though. Currently we are at above $19,000 for Bitcoin. That is so nice to see. And Ethereum is up to 1,413. So let's take a look now at the Bitcoin chart and see what's happening over here. We've spoke about this a lot. We've broken through these two levels of resistance that I was looking at personally. We have broken also through, if we take a look at these levels here were acting as a resistance. They'd been previously used as a support at 18,400, now been used as a resistance here, but we have successfully closed a daily candle above that level of resistance. That's officially broken through, and now this green line here that you can see on the chart, let me make that a little bit bigger. This is a strong level of resistance we're looking at, but we haven't actually closed a candle above this. So this is what I'm being cautious about right now. I want to see us close a daily candle above the $19,000 level, and then that level will officially be broken and things will be looking, oh, you can't see the chart. Thanks, Hamzak, for letting me know. Let's start this one again. We have this level of resistance here, this white line here that we've used as a support numerous times. And now we have used it as resistance here, but we have closed a daily candle close above it. So that is bullish. We have officially broken that level of resistance, but we still have this declining level of resistance here as well. We've bounced this in August and in November, and now we haven't actually seen a daily candle close above it. We need to see us close a daily candle above the $19,000 level. Honestly, preferably a little bit higher, maybe 19,300. Then we'd be very confident this level of resistance has been broken, and then we can start to feel a whole lot better about the markets. Right now, we are still within this trading range, so this is just a point that I would be careful. I'm not opening any long positions at this point in time because we've seen that huge move to the upside and we haven't broken this crucial level of resistance. But obviously, nothing is financial advice. That is just my own opinions. The level of supports that we are looking at are down at around $16,600. I'm praying to God we don't go back down that low. It would be very nice to continue seeing this upwards movement and seeing this green within the CoinMarketCap statistics. But let's take a look now at some cryptocurrency news. We've got a huge amount of news today. The writers have been working very hard in the last 24 hours. Clearly, we've got a huge amount of information to share. And if you are on today's live stream, don't forget to hit like. We currently have 12 likes on today's video. The like goal for today is 50, so please continue to hit the like button. Jerome said, poor Jess, you need to rest your voice. I can't rest my voice when the markets are moving. We have to talk about the markets because the markets are moving up. If this had happened when we weren't seeing any movement whatsoever, maybe we could have had a day off, but there's no time for days off when the markets are green. We have to continue. Let's take a look at today's news though and see what is happening. So first of all, we have Avalanche partners with AWS to accelerate blockchain adoption by institutions. So Ava Labs, the company building the layer 1 blockchain Avalanche, has announced a partnership with Amazon Web Services to accelerate enterprise, institutional, and government adoption of blockchain. The partnership will make it easier for individuals and institutions to launch and manage Avalanche nodes, while at the same time improving the network security. AWS will support Avalanche's infrastructure and dApp ecosystem, allowing for the one-click deployment of nodes through the AWS marketplace. So we're seeing the infrastructure being built in the bear market. We're seeing adoption. We're seeing positive things during this bear market. At least we aren't in this phase. We did have a phase of the bear market where it was bad news, bad news, bad news, FTX, and loads of the things that came from the FTX collapse. And now we're seeing that some positive things coming back into the space. It's feeling a whole lot nicer. What I haven't pulled up for today's video, which I need to today, is SBF actually posted yesterday a report on what his side of the story is, essentially, for the FTX collapse. So let me pull that up right now. I should have prepared this earlier, but I completely forgot about it. But we'll talk about it now. Let me get this up. So here it is, FTX pre-mortem overview. So SBF has tweeted, he's done a Substack of how he thinks FTX fell apart. And he says there's 3 things combined together to cause the implosion. First, we have, over the course of 2021, Alameda's balance sheet grew to roughly $100 billion of net asset value, $8 billion of net borrowing, and $7 billion of liquidity on hand. The second issue he's raised is Alameda failed to sufficiently hedge its market exposure. Over the course of 2022, a series of large, broad market crashes came in stocks and in crypto, leading to an 80% decrease in the market value of its assets. Let me turn my phone on silent. And the third reason is in November 2022, an extreme quick targeted crash precipitated by the CEO of Binance made Alameda insolvent. Now, we can't blame CZ of this issue. If you don't have the funds that had to fully collateralize your users, you can't blame CZ. He chose to sell his FTT tokens, which he was in completely rights to do so. And that may have caused a huge amount of withdrawals, which, yes, caused us to realize the problems within FTX. But there were problems within FTX and within Alameda Research. We've seen Gary Wang and Caroline Ellison both plead guilty to their charges. So we know there are problems within the company. So you can't put the blame on another CEO who has chosen to sell the tokens which you've created and used to inflate your balance sheets. Anyway, before we get too angry at FTX, we'll talk a little bit more about him in a minute. But let's check in. We are currently on 1,966 followers. Thank you very much. And the goal for today is to try and get to 2,000. Maybe that's an unrealistic goal, but we'll stick with it. We're currently on 16 likes and the goal is 50. So please make sure to continue liking and subscribing. And if you are new here, we do these every single day at 11 a.m. talking about the latest cryptocurrency news, doing a little bit of chart analysis. So let's move on to the next article now. That was a little unplanned snippet. First of all, I think we were the first cryptocurrency news outlet to talk about this yesterday. We saw Nexo's offices in Bulgaria allegedly raided by police and prosecutors. So Bulgarian police and prosecutors have reportedly raided Nexo's offices in Sofia regarding links to money laundering, sanction violations, and the OneCoin Ponzi scheme. Nexo's offices in the Bulgarian capital of Sofia have reportedly been raided by local police, prosecutors, investors from the National Investigative Service and foreign agents. According to local outlets, the raid on Nexo by authorities is part of investigations as to whether the crypto exchange and lender was part of a large-scale scheme for financial crimes, money laundering, and violations of international sanctions against Russia. Investigations into the activity of Nexo in Bulgaria have been ongoing for several months after authorities detected suspicious financial transactions aimed at evading existing sanctions against Russia and some of its citizens imposed by the European Union, Great Britain, and the United States. The report by Novinite added that Nexo is Bulgarian. It is run and a former member of parliament and the son of a former social minister from the NDSV political party. So Nexo in Bulgaria might have been part of OneCoin Ponzi scheme. And because of this, Nexo's token has dipped by 7.4% at the time of writing. Let's see where it is now, because it's been a couple. This was reported yesterday, so let's see how the token's doing. Only down 0.82% in the last day, so it's not seen too much of a negative impact from this if we take a look, and it's not been heavily reported so far, so maybe that slow release of information has not really impacted the price too much. And this is all speculation, as you can see within the article. This is all alleged. We don't actually have any official reports, but Nexo adheres to the highest regulatory standards. We saw them tweet about this, not about the actual scenario, but about themselves yesterday at a very, very similar time. They've said, over the years, we have turned down a lot of business because Nexo never makes compromises with regards to our very stringent anti-money laundering and know your customer policies. But we have always known that this is how you build a sustainable business. Since day one, we have gone the extra mile to implement cutting-edge solutions to ensure adherence to the highest regulatory standards and simultaneously provide a smoother customer onboarding journey. Despite being fully automated, Nexo has 30 plus AML compliance officers who ensure that we retain a real-time picture of our clients, which includes adverse media publications, OFAC sanction lists, and source and flow of funds. Crypto is actually terrible for illicit purposes. Using trade analysis, for example, we know the history of the asset while it is being deposited and have a good understanding of the address to which it is withdrawn. This is more difficult with fiat and requires other techniques. After the beginning of the horrible war in Ukraine, the first order of business was to help fundraise for those affected. The second was, of course, to comply with the sanctions, and Nexo took one of the most aggressive approaches here. Unfortunately, with recent regulatory crackdown on crypto, some regulators have recently adopted the kick first, ask questions later approach. In corrupt countries, it is bordering with racketeering, but that too shall pass. We are always cooperating with the relevant authorities and regulators. Carrying on now though with the next piece of news. Hopefully we'll see if the Nexo news is true, if they get charged with anything. Right now it is all speculation, so just be cautious, just err on the side of caution. As with everything in cryptocurrency, that is the best thing to do. We have to be careful in this field, especially in this market. Things are still very, very volatile, although things have been good the last couple of days. You have to look at the bigger picture. We are in the midst of a bear market, whether that is coming to the end right now. Nobody knows for sure, to be honest. We have to just wait and see how this all plays out, but just be cautious and make sure your funds are in safe places. Make sure you have funds in the safest way possible for you. I know a cold storage wallet isn't appropriate for everybody because some people don't want to have the responsibility of that, but just be careful in the best way possible for yourself. Moving on now to the next article, we have US court terminates FTX's $135 million sponsorship deal with NBA giant Miami Heat. Now, good. This is exactly what we're expecting to see. There's nothing too big from that story. So let's move on to the next article. Jason is in the chat. Good evening, Jess, from a long, long way away. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. Let's see how many likes we are on for today's video. We are 19 likes so far. Please continue hitting like and subscribe. We are trying to get to that 50 like goal for today's video. We have lots more stories to talk about though, so expect this to be a pretty long stream. Let's take a look at the next article we have here, and it's blockchain.com lays off another 28% of its workforce as crypto winter intensifies. We've seen this on many different cryptocurrency exchanges in the last couple of weeks. We've seen, however, Binance published that they are hiring more and more and more. It's really difficult right now because the companies that are getting rid of staff right now will then probably want to get more staff on again during the bull market. But during this bear market, I believe they probably will have held on for their staff for as long as possible. But that monthly bill during the bear market just gets harder and harder to pay. And now, obviously, a lot of them have decided that this is too far. and they need to actually reorganize how they are going to spend their money. But hopefully the markets are beginning to turn and we can see this stop happening. It is really, really sad to see, but as long as they are putting their users first for all of these platforms, it means the greater majority of the cryptocurrency industry is continuing to improve, and we're not going to see negative things. I mean, if they keep employing employees that they can't afford, it doesn't usually end up well for its users. So at least we are getting put first in all of these companies that are doing this. Hansak said, smash the like button. Let's make it 50. Yes, please. Let's try and get to 50 likes today. JB said, come on, Bitcoin. Let's take a look back at the Bitcoin chart. Let's zoom in a little bit because we haven't really done too much over there. Oh, so it looks like we have bounced that level of resistance pretty nicely, used it as a support. That is a huge positive move for Bitcoin. Obviously, I like to trade on the daily chart as well, but this is a 4-hour resistance. So that is a really nice move for Bitcoin. And this is maybe potentially where I actually would be looking at entering a long position. Now, I said at the start that I wouldn't. I'd be waiting for the daily chart, but on the 4-hour chart, that is looking pretty nice. Having a few orders in down there wouldn't have hurt. Very interesting chart for Bitcoin, something I will have to look at more in detail at the end of today's video. Let's take a look at the RSI and MACD and see what's happening. So on the, I'm literally doing this live, I've not prepared this part of the video. The MACD is looking like it's got bullish momentum, pretty strong bullish momentum, the most bullish momentum we've seen since a very, very long time ago on the 4-hour chart. I can't even get back to where we've been this bullish. And the RSI is obviously rising with this bullish movement. Now, the RSI is a lagging indicator. It uses historic data to show what's happening. So when we see a big move, we do expect that the RSI will show overbought. There's no way that it couldn't. If that is just it's a lagging indicator. When the chart moves up, the RSI is going to increase. That's how it's calculated. But it still is a useful indicator to show. It's showing that we are currently at 82, so overbought for Bitcoin. I wouldn't be too concerned about that right now. I'm just looking at these levels of support and resistance and seeing how we are reacting to them. So far, we are reacting to them pretty nicely. Obviously, nothing is financial advice. Don't go and open a long trade or open a short trade from these opinions that I'm giving. I'm not in a trade right now. I would be cautious by entering a trade right now. And I would be interested to see how the next few hours play out. Let's move on to the next article now. Where did we get up to? We've seen Bitcoin sets its eyes on $19,000 after US December inflation decreases to 6.5%. Now, obviously, we all know Bitcoin's flown above $19,000. We are currently at 18,999, but we've all seen this. And if you are on crypto Twitter, which I'm sure a lot of you are, everyone on Twitter has been talking about it. So if you haven't missed it, where have you been? You've been living under a rock for the last 12 hours. But right now we were trading just above the $19,000 level. And this has come off the back of the US inflation rates. So this is dropped to 6.5%. This was what was expected. We were all expecting this news to break yesterday. It broke at 1:30 UTC. I think, I don't know what time it was in America when the news dropped. But it was 1:30 in UK time. And the news, we were expecting 6.5. If it was any lower, we expected an even bigger move to the upside for Bitcoin, but it was as expected. Some of it was priced in. Obviously, we still have seen a nice move. If we look at November's inflation rate, it was 7.1%. So this is a nice decline. Hopefully, from this positive move in inflation, it means that the interest rates don't need to be increased too heavily in coming months. But it'll be interesting to see how they deal with this information. Moving on to the next article, we have Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz wants to punch SBF and Barry Silbert in the jaw. Every time I hear the word Novogratz, I think of that Martini guy's old intro where it was that Novogratz is bullish. So obviously he's been bullish for a very long time in the markets. He is the CEO of Galaxy Digital, as it says here. This company has lost an estimated $3 billion on paper due to events that shaped the 2022 crypto winter, and the crypto investment firm still has $1 billion in cash on its balance sheet and is looking to recalibrate its operations by making tough choices such as laying off 15% of its 375 global employees. So we're seeing another one, but we can see further down Novogratz has shared his opinions. Here we can see this was one of those years where the woulda, coulda, shoulda, it was painful. And he said, you can take 18 months of misery. You can't take 4 years of misery. Your people lose faith, he explained. During the interview, Mike Novogratz shared that the collapse of the Sam Bankman-Fried-led crypto exchange cost Galaxy an estimated $77 million. He also admitted that it could have been worse, but a billionaire friend who had talked to SBF had warned Mr. Novogratz that Alameda Research was missing billions. You've got to be effing kidding me. Like, really, you B Lamented said about Sam Bankman-Fried. The toxic masculine side of me would like to punch them both in the jaw. Me too. Me too, my Novogratz. They've caused a huge amount of misery in cryptocurrency. We've seen a huge crash. If we just zoom back and see the extent of this FTX collapse, you can see here on the daily chart, it was back in November. It was this crash down here. We dropped a huge 25% off the markets when we were already in a very, very bad place. Jason said, Novogratz versus SBF. Now there's a celebrity boxing match I'd show up for. Me too. That would be fun. The whole cryptocurrency community coming together. Let's take a look at the next article now and see what we have next in store. We are currently at, let me check how many likes we are on. We're currently at 26 likes, halfway there. Please continue to hit like and subscribe and the bell notification button. We are also on 1,966 likes, subscribers. Please make sure 1,966 likes would be very nice. Subscribers, please make sure to subscribe. We're trying to get to 100,000 by the end of this year, and then we'll get a nice lovely plaque for all of these efforts that we're doing these live streams every single day at 11 a.m. So if you are enjoying, please make sure to tune back in. Well, every single Monday to Friday, so we won't have one till Monday now, but please make sure to tune back in on Monday. They are a great way to start your day if you are interested in cryptocurrency. And I also just think reading the news every single day, some people think this is not interesting at all, but it's a great way to just get involved in cryptocurrency, because when you understand the daily news of what's going on, you just pick up on different things and how things work and how the market reacts. And that is so important to understand. So let's take a Crypto Putty said, not boxing, MMA, more blood. Let's carry on to the next article now before people get too violent in the chat. We have we done this one? No. DCG looks to liquidate crypto venture portfolio to shore up Genesis's $3 billion shortfall. So DCG is Genesis's parent company, and the Gemini Earn section in order to Gemini, the cryptocurrency exchange by the Winklevoss twins, just like you can on Binance or on many centralized exchanges. You can put your tokens in, you can lock your tokens up and earn interest for doing so. How those companies earn that interest to pay you is they give them to a lending platform who pays the centralized exchange interest. So Gemini, the exchange, had a earn section. If you deposited your funds into this earn section, your funds then got lent to Genesis, and Genesis then lent out your funds and such, earns interest, and then gives it back to Gemini to pay you. Genesis has a $3 billion hole in its balance sheet, and Genesis's parent company is DCG. So DCG is looking to liquidate its crypto venture portfolio to shore up Genesis's $3 billion shortfall. This is looking more positive. Looks like they're taking action, and means that this could fill the space and fill the funds of the Gemini users who lost access to their assets. But we do have another story on this coming in a second. It's not all positive in this story, so let's read this a second. According to people familiar with the matter, DCG is looking to liquidate Still, the estimated amount is far below Genesis's debtors to creditors. According to the People, Genesis shortfall is more than $3 billion, including the $280 million owed to Dutch exchange Bitvarvo and $900 million to customers of the Winklevoss crypto exchange. Genesis is among the victims of the FTX collapse in 2022. I've just spoke about this. And we've also discussed how Novogratz does not want like the DCG at all. He said, this is not going to be great. I don't think it will include a lot of selling. It's just not good news. But we'll skip through that bit for now because we've already discussed. The thing I want to discuss next is here. The US SEC is suing Gemini and Genesis over unregistered securities offering. So the SEC has charged crypto broker Genesis and Gemini for selling unregistered security tokens in violation of federal laws. Now, there's a huge issue in cryptocurrency between commodities and securities. If something is deemed a security, that means it needs to abide by SEC regulations. Nobody wants to abide by SEC regulations because they are incredibly strict and very hard to abide by. Now, the SEC is saying that both Genesis and Gemini offered unregulated securities to American investors through Gemini's program, and the product allows investors to receive interest on crypto deposits. So there's this thing called the Howey test, and this determines whether an asset is a security or a commodity. Now, the difference between the two is hard to determine. Usually, if you are we can even I'll pull up the Howey test now so that you can see how difficult the let me type this in, securities, how difficult it is to determine what the difference is. Let me pull this tab in here so you can see. The Howey test refers to the US Supreme Court case for determining whether a transaction qualifies as an investment contract. If a transaction is found to be an investment contract, it's considered a security. But there's 4 different tests to see. Right, this hasn't got the Howey test falls. Here we go. This might say it a bit more clearly. According to Howey, 4-pronged test to be used in determining whether an investment contract exists. It's 1, an investment of money; 2, in common enterprise; 3, with the expectation of profit; and 4, to be derived from the efforts of others. So you can see there, it's a bit blurry at the lines. If you are earning interest, that could be determined as a security. I've done so much research into this, and the lines are so blurry. It's very, very difficult for companies to abide by these rules. It's a challenge for them to fall on the right side of the very blurry line, but we have to make sure we do so. Otherwise, the SEC is just pointing fingers and hoping one of them sticks. We've got the XRP case right now. Hopefully that comes to an end this year. I am looking forward to that. And when XRP win, if XRP win, fingers crossed, that will set a precedent for the rest of the cryptocurrency industry. And if XRP win, it will be a huge, huge bullish move for the entire cryptocurrency industry. James said the Howey test is 70 years old and written for shares. You can't, this is the issue with cryptocurrency now. It's a whole different industry, and trying to move traditional finance rules onto cryptocurrency is not successful, and we need some new regulation in this space. I know a lot of people are against regulation. We need some understanding of how we can have an industry that can perform and has space to grow without having traditional finance rules just being thrown at them because they don't want to try and create something new. Let's carry on to the next article. Sorry, I keep drinking. I'm trying to not sound like very croaky. We didn't even finish this article. Let's carry on this one. Genesis partners with Gemini to offer earning services. We've already discussed this. This is how Gemini creates their interest for their users in the earn section. But Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, has said, we allege that Genesis and Gemini offered unregistered securities to the public by passing disclosure requirements designed to protect investors. Today's charges build on previous actions to make clear to the marketplace and the investing public that crypto lending platforms and other intermediaries need to comply with our time-tested securities laws. Doing so best protects investors. It promotes trust in markets. It's not optional. It's the law. Gemini withhold investors' funds. So we've already discussed this part of the video. We'll see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. We've seen a lot of this over recent months. Moving on to the next article, illicit crypto transaction volume in 2022 hit record high of $20.1 billion, according to Chainalysis. According to the report, the illicit volume increased to 0.24% from 0.12% in 2022, accounting for less than 1% of the total volume of on-chain transactions. I really enjoy the on-chain. Obviously, this isn't great, but the on-chain analysis is definitely something that you should look at if you don't already. It's very, very interesting. A lot of them have paywalls, but if you can get some access to some on-chain analysis, it's very interesting to take a look at further. Chainalysis pointed out that the recorded illicit volume does not include proceeds from criminal activities like drug trafficking that were moved into crypto for laundering. In addition, volumes from centralized entities that collapsed during the winter were exempted, as some of them are facing fraud charges due to inappropriate off-chain records. Some such companies include Celsius Network, 3 Arrows Capital, and FTX. Chainalysis noted the published record is bound to change as new addresses related to illicit activities are discovered. A similar case was seen in 2021, where an analytics firm changed the published crime-related transaction volume record from $14 billion to $18 billion due to the discovery of new scamming techniques. Let's take a look now at the next article here. We are currently have 45 viewers. Thank you very much to everybody that has joined today's live stream. And don't forget to press like and subscribe to today's video. We are currently on 26 likes. The like goal for today is 50. So make sure to please, we're on 38 likes. I've just refreshed the page. Thank you very much to everybody who's liked today's video. We are currently on 1,968 subscribers, on a mission to hit 2,000 by the end of next week, I'll say. By the end of today would be nice, but by the end of next week might be a little bit more realistic. And on a mission to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. Let's carry on now to the next article. Europol busts fake call centers that defraud victims of millions in crypto. So law enforcement authorities aided the investigation in Bulgaria, Cyprus, Germany, and Serbia, where the scammers were also operated. And they've seized $1 million in crypto, among other items. The criminal network, comprising a number of different criminal actors operating through call centers, lured victims into investing large amounts of money into fake crypto schemes. We have more to talk about in crypto schemes next in today's video, which is about the BitConnect fraud. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this. It is a scam that happened back in 2018. It was basically a Ponzi scheme of cryptocurrency. About 800 victims of the BitConnect investment fraud will receive $17 million in compensation for their losses in the scheme. So on Thursday, a San Diego federal court ordered that $17 million in restitution be distributed to some investors affected by the BitConnect scheme, one of the largest cryptocurrency investment frauds. Only 800 of thousands of BitConnect victims will benefit from the restitution. The Justice Department reported that only 800 individuals across 40 countries will benefit from the restitution. It's unclear why the court ordered compensation for a selected few, given that thousands of investors worldwide were defrauded in the BitConnect investment scheme. So BitConnect was promoted to a lucrative investment with several investment programs and offering touted to generate substantial profits and guaranteed returns from cryptocurrency trading. In reality, however, the promoters of BitConnect were operating a textbook Ponzi scheme, said the Justice Department. According to the Justice Department, money from new investors was also to repay existing investors. So this is where it becomes the Ponzi scheme. And BitConnect made away with billions of investors' money, some of which were used by the owners and promoters. Taking a look back at the chat, JB said stack sats every day. Exactly, that is the goal of a bear market. We've got nothing else to do, so we may as well stack sats that we'll thank ourselves for in the future. Back to the article today, we have BitConnect founder is still at large. So in September last year, one of the lead promoters of BitConnect, Glenn Arcaro, was sentenced to 38 months in prison for his participation in the investment scheme. And his co-conspirators created a global web of deception and fraud, said the IRS CI special agent in charge. So Arcaro pleaded guilty to a conspiracy to commit wire fraud, exploiting investor interest in cryptocurrency by fraudulently marketing BitConnect's initial coin offering and digital cryptocurrency exchange. I'm sure a lot of you have heard enough about BitConnect. It's a very famous case within cryptocurrency. It was pushed onto investors very, very heavily, and turned out to be that those invested early made the most money, and they were taking a lot of money for themselves, and it was a big loss for the cryptocurrency industry. We've seen many of these over the years, and no doubt we'll see some more in the next couple of years, but the industry is becoming healthier and healthier as a whole. My battery pack is about to break. Give me 20 seconds. Let me put we're gonna have to pause today's. Well, let's carry on until it dies. We've got one last article today, which is crypto firm Wire lifts 90% of withdrawal limit after securing new funds. So this is a pretty reasonable way to deal with a cryptocurrency. Obviously, we don't want cryptocurrency exchanges to not be backed one-to-one, but if they don't have liquid assets in order to pay their users, this is an interesting way to deal with that problem. So crypto payments platform Wire has lifted its 90% withdrawal limit after receiving new funding from a strategic partner. The company announced this Friday. This means that customers will now be able to withdraw 100% of their funds on the platform, although the firm did not disclose the amount raised. So basically, the firm announced last week that it was cutting its withdrawal limit by 10% to help navigate the current market environment and deliver on its mission to simplify and revolutionize the global payments ecosystem. The withdrawal cut followed claims that the company was on the verge of winding down. American news website Axios reported the news on January 3, saying that Wire was closing down after a deal to sell itself to payments firm Bolt failed to materialize. So that is, I think we're gonna have to wrap up today's video. My battery is about to die unless you give me 20 seconds to let me go and change the battery. No, we're gonna wrap up today's video before it gets to before it dies. Hopefully it doesn't die before we finish today's video. Let's take a quick look back at the Bitcoin chart and see what's happening here. We currently have a nice big green candle for the day. We are still bouncing that level of resistance less strongly. This is something that I'm going to look at and potentially trade. I'm going to keep my eye on it, look a bit at the shorter term, see what's happening over there. It looks very interesting right now. And we need to take a look back at CoinMarketCap and see what is going on. We currently have Bitcoin at just below $19,000 and Ethereum at $1,410. Everything is looking very, very green. Once again, it is looking much, much nicer. That is really all for today's video, though. My battery pack is flashing. I think it's about to die. My voice is getting croakier and croakier. So that is all for today's video. Thank you so much to everybody who has tuned in once again, and thank you to everybody who has hit that like button and helped us towards our goal for today. Let's see how many likes we are on so far. We've hit 52 likes, so we've hit the goal for the day. Thank you very much for watching. That is all I have, and I will see you back here tomorrow on Monday. On Monday we will be back with the next live stream. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.